Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this, the Reply to Comments 107, the 107th video in which I get to reply to your comments, hence the title. The reason I do this series of videos, and there's a lot of them now, 107 videos, is because I don't have time to reply to all my comments by text, although I feel obliged to reply because I get a lot of comments on this popular channel, and some of the comments are very interesting. Some of them address me directly and ask me questions and try to engage me in dialogue. It seems rude, to say the least, not to reply to that. And when you take the time to watch and to think about what I've said on the video, which is great. Now, you might think to yourself, well, there's no point doing this video, Ben, because it's a 9-hour video. I only want to reply to one comment. I'm not going to watch a 9-hour video to get a reply to one comment. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to watch. You don't have to, because underneath the comment I'm replying to, I'll put a timestamp. Underneath that timestamp, it'll tell you exactly when, within the next upcoming reply to comments video, I will be replying to your comment within the nearest hour. So that's not too bad, is it? 1 hour. Another reason I do these reply to comments videos is I enjoy doing them, and many of you viewers enjoy watching them. I know some of you watch them all the way through, which is cool. Another reason is just to preserve this dialogue, because as Stefan Molyneux said when he got banned from YouTube, it wasn't losing the videos that was the real problem, because he had those all backed up. It was losing the comments underneath, which is a precious philosophical discussion. Yeah. So that's another reason to do these reply to comments videos, in case I get banned from YouTube, which is perfectly possible. This is the YouTube section of this. This is a two-part segment. There will be this YouTube section covering all the comments on YouTube, and then there will be an alt tech annex. I don't answer alt tech comments on the YouTube videos anymore because I'll just get banned. So, because the discussion itself over on alt tech is at a higher level in terms of edginess, shall we say, than YouTube is willing to tolerate. So I keep fed up of. I used to get fed up of going through saying, "Oh, well, I can't use that word, or I can't say that on here because it's YouTube." So alt tech now is completely separate. Although this YouTube video will also be uploaded to alt tech. So let us begin. We'll start from where the last comments left off. So I'll go to the bottom of the list where I last had a reply to comments, a comment on which I covered on the last video. And we have Red Snapper, who says on Weird Weekend North, "You have to go into Nathan's heckler. What happened? Also, could you post a link to where you had a heckler?" All right. I don't know how much I really want to say about Nathan's heckler. She was just this woman who took, I can't even remember exactly what she took offense at. She became very agitated over something that Nathan said. Can't remember exactly what it was. And then she started shouting at him and stormed out. Now, she came back later and apologized, and they made friends again. So I don't really feel I need to. I don't really feel I need to go to any details about that. Even if I could remember, probably wouldn't be fair, seeing as she apologised and everything. As for my own heckler, well, it's happened several times, but it was actually not on a HPANWO TV video. It was actually, where was it when I went to Truth Seeker's T-side? Let's have a look. Hang on a sec. Hang on. Truth Seeker's T-side. Where is it? I'm trying to find it now. Here we go. It's... No, here we go. Truth Seeker's T-side video. You find it here. All right, let me just show you. It's somewhere in these videos here. Now there's it's the official recording of my lectures. Now someone else filmed this, so it's not my video. So I've got it on a HPANWO voice, but you got them all on here. Is the links on here? It's somewhere in there. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly where, but it's 4 parts. It's quite long. But there's the video. Okay, so and I do get a heckler there. You'll see I have a heckler. Yeah, see, yes, it was quite amusing actually. I find it quite entertaining. Really, it's not like I'm not like Nathan. He's a great guy. He's a great guy, but he's younger and more sensitive than I am. But I like Nathan. He's really cool. Nathan didn't deserve that. Reply to comments 106 YouTube first, says Red Snapper. Well done, Red Snapper. Gold tinfoil hat heading for you. Oh, now we have our first thread, and it is on 106, and it's Darren here, IQ7CR, and he says 1. I don't know what that means, because Oh, there's an argument now. Red Snapper says, I was first. You can't claim 1, 2, and 3 either. Darren, if you was first and I'm allowed 2 and 3. Darren, you can claim 2 but not 3. Darren, can I have 2 and 4? Darren, Red Snapper, no, you can only have 1. So many people have commented since anyway. All right, this goes on for a while. Oh, someone mentions Droik. Red Snapper says here, are you one of the Droik trolls? And Darren says, what's a Droik? Red Snapper says, a notorious gang of trolls that harass Ben. Not sure what it means. Right. Yes, the Team Droik are a group. Well, they've kind of like, they're a lot quieter than they used to. They just pop up every so often now. Since their humiliation in Watford, they've sort of left me alone to a certain extent. However, yeah, they are too. They still sometimes pop up occasionally. For example, when David Icke got banned from wherever it was, Twitter or whatever, they deliberately set up an entire email just to contact me and gloat about it. So they're still there. They're still popped there. But again, they won't attack me, and they won't actually confront me openly, of course. And so Darren and Red Snapper are arguing over who gets the gold tinfoil hat. Well, I think it was Red Snapper, Darren, but you get the silver. All right. You get the silver. It's like the Olympics, this, isn't it? All right. So, and then Darren says, and 3. No, Darren says 2 and 3. Well, Darren, oh, all right. What's happening there? Oh, damn it. Sorry, I'm going to have to go back now. I clicked the wrong button. But no, I think that was Red Snapper got the gold there, guys. Ray got the gold. But well done. Well done for your efforts, gentlemen. And there is Darren here. Darren, yeah, Darren got the second one. So well done, Darren. You get silver. And Darren's claiming bronze as well. You can't get both. You've got to be, who's third? Who was the third? I don't know who was the third. Oh, I think it was Orange, actually. Orange says on 106, what do you think of Trump's Operation Stargate? Sounds a bit like Reagan's Star Wars. Yeah, it's what was it? Let me just find it. I should know this. Operation Stargate Trump. Yeah, I forgot what it was now. The Stargate project, a £500 billion plan to announce develop artificial intelligence infrastructure in the United States. Right? Oh yes, right. Apparently, it'll create hundreds of thousands of jobs. So the robot overlords won't take it away from us. Keep US ahead of China in AI development, enhance national security capabilities, to drive to create development of artificial general intelligence. Well, as I said previously, I think AI is an overrated subject. I don't think it'll ever become some kind of robot overlord. However, it could become a very, very deadly weapon in the hands of human or reptilian overlords. So I think it does sound like Reagan's Star Wars in the sense that it's an attempt to escalate weapons development in order to prevent these weapons being used, in a sense, because they're scared basically that other nations will jump ahead to the point where they threaten the United States, and the United States doesn't have the means to retaliate. So it is very similar to the nuclear arms race in that respect. But I think we should be looking for ways to protect ourselves against this threat from wherever it might come. You see, this is the thing. I mean, and the National Security Agency is not currently, I think, a friend of the Trump administration. It may become that way. We'll have to wait and see. Red Snapper says on reply to comments 106, 1331, a lot of goat farmer pretending to be senior academic. Steve is funny. He is, isn't he? What was that bit? Let me just have a look. Hang on. Howard Cookie Land. Do you think the MSM would have printed his ridiculous BLC rubbish if they had known they were talking to a goat farmer? Oh, you're talking about Simon Holland. Yeah, he is funny. Steve is very, very funny, I must admit. However, I mean, see, Steve, all the skeptics have been really rude to Simon now. When he was on their side, they were all friendly with him, and now he's Simon Hogwash. See? Oh, we got 106 YouTube. Oh, Neil Peel says, thanks for the mention of my book, True Tales of the Paranormal, Ben. Hope you are enjoying it. I did indeed, Steve. Neil and I have recorded an interview, which is going to be on HPANWO Radio. Macca the Gypsy says, your books are unreadable yawn fests. Steve says, that's because you can't read. If you are straining to read anything, it's like you're not trained in anything past a Janet and John Yellow book. No. Brilliant rejoinder, Neil. Brilliant rejoinder. Well done. I love it. 106, Hugo Rune. I'm looking forward to this, says Hugo. Oh, thanks, mate. Hope you're all right. Come to see you soon. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't got back to you on that. I know I said I'd get back to you for February, and I haven't. I'm sorry. 106, Red Snapper says, yes, I remember the Apollo detectives debate. Let's have a look. This is like a little... 93. I'd love a debate, just one versus one, just you and Mumbling. Oh, right, yeah. I did have a debate with Mumbling. It wasn't just one-on-one, but it was a debate. He was grossly offensive, kept being rude. He would probably be the same in a one-on-one debate. Oh, I'm sure he would, Red Snapper. Besides, I mean, really, it's the sort of thing you can only do once. I mean, we've kind of... And we kind of get into debates anyway. I'm not sure a one-on-one debate would be any better than the one we have now, because at least in this, with the way we do it now, where we go away and make reply videos or comments, we get the chance to examine the evidence. I mean, the problem with one-on-one live debates is very often you may be stumped by a piece of an answer which you don't have because you don't have the information necessary on the top of your head. And then your opponent will inevitably claim victory and say, well, that's because that information doesn't exist. When it does, it may well exist. But you see, this is why I prefer these kinds of debates. 106, David, splendid isolation. Yeah, but think about it, Ben. If personnel at these military facilities open fire on their commander-in-chief, their boss, then they'd be mad, because it would be such an outrage of the highest order that the entire US military would descend on that facility and take it over by force anyway, so they'd better comply. I say no, they'd have no choice but to. Well, the thing is, I think you're referring to the idea that Area 51, the idea that the president needs permission to get into Area 51. I think that's the thing you're thinking about. It's, believe it or not, though, it is true. And it's possible that should members of the US executive try to get into Area 51 without permission, they would be fired upon. I think they would. And it would be an outrage of the highest order. And it may well spark some kind of civil war. But maybe that's the only way to end this stalemate, to end this situation. I hope not. But maybe it will be bringing something out that's inevitable anyway. And possibly it will therefore be less destructive. I don't know. But it's true. I mean, the national security state is a law unto itself. I mean, we've seen this. You know that. You remember the time when Anna Paulina Luna and Jared Moskowitz and Anthony Garcia and a couple of other people tried to get into, I forgot what facility it was now. I actually think it was one of the defense contractors, and they were not allowed in. They were told they could not in, and they stood there saying, we're elected members of the federal legislature. You cannot keep us out of here. And they said, yeah, we can. We got the guns. You haven't. Dark Corners says underneath, sounds like a good idea for a film. Well, it is, but it is actually, it's not a film yet, but it is a book. It's this book, Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure by me, Ben Emlyn-Jones. And it's available at all good bookshops, price £10. Now, to be fair, actually, it's not the scenario of invading Area 51 actually takes place in the second book, which is Roswell Revealed. You can just see there, the second book of the trilogy. There's a third one since this edition. So yeah, if you read the Roswell trilogy, that scenario actually comes about, and maybe someone will make it into a film. I'm willing to negotiate rights. Right, notice of All Tech exclusive. Who hates Jacko? Stephen Garrity says, I hate the smooth PDF file. He was a bastard and his music was bollocks as well. The PDF file 5, we're crap as well. All right, I think you mean the Jackson 5. Right, first of all, I don't believe he was. I think there's a lot of question marks over those accusations. Do remember he was acquitted in a court of law. Now you might say, well, that doesn't mean anything because the courts are corrupt, etc. Well, perhaps you need to ask, by what standards would you find him innocent then? We have to. This is why I keep saying we need a tribunal for our community. So yeah, I mean, people are now talking about him in this way. I think. Funny enough, a lot of the people who accuse Michael Jackson, the people who laugh at the idea of grooming gangs or, people like Cyril Smith or Edward Heath and the things that they did. And now we have the alien interview. Oh my God, it's Victor Nevada. I had to block him on Facebook. Oh my God, he was just doing my head in, this guy. But anyway, here we go. You talk rubbish. I've never said that the alien interview video belongs to me, and you know it. Well, Andrew, you act like it does. But the thing is, Andrew, everyone else who investigates this, you attack them. So you are behaving in a possessive manner towards this particular case. That's how it comes across to me. He carries on. My research is endorsed by the makers of the original alien interview video documentary, Rocket Pictures Innovative Media Group, which is more than can be said for Stewart's research. And they also don't trust Stewart. All right. Well, that's true. I mean, I know your own work, I know, has been very much endorsed, and that's right. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that what Jon Stewart is doing is no good. It doesn't mean that at all. That's not. I mean, you know, I've interviewed Jon myself, and much to your chagrin. And you started turning against me actually when I started interviewing Jon. Well, that's too bad. I'm not going to talk to someone just to pacify you, Andrew. No, I'm not. He continues. I was advised by Jeff Broadstreet, the producer, to steer clear of Stewart 4 years ago. Ask yourself why that is. All right, I'm asking myself why that is. I think it's possibly because he doesn't like him for some personal reason. That's what it means. He carries on. And how would you feel if you spent years analysing and researching a piece of alien footage and somebody suddenly appeared out of nowhere, brackets, a former comedy wrestler, not a UFO person, close brackets, and tried to rewrite the official story by lying and spreading disinformation on podcasts? I know it will piss you off. All right. Firstly, I have put a lot of effort into a piece of research, a piece of field research and commentary for other people to come along and publish their own versions based partly on my own pioneering endeavors and pass it off as their own. I've had that, okay? Does it piss me off? You know, to be honest, Andrew, it doesn't, because I'm not in this for my ego. I didn't do this work on the Pentec incident to put my stamp of personal glory on it. I did it to get the information out, and it's been getting out further it's getting out further beyond that, which is good. That's what I want. It's getting out further to other people, and other people are then spreading it, and other people are talking about it, which is kind of what I want. That's the objective that I first started that endeavor for. Now, you say somebody appeared out of nowhere, a comedy wrestler, not a UFO person. Right, okay. What's wrong with being a comedy wrestler? What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that. We know that wrestling is kind of like it's theatre more than sport. I know that. But what's wrong with that? Is that a bad thing? Not a UFO person? Well, maybe he's just decided to come into it now. And you say he's lying and spreading disinformation on podcasts. The thing about it is, Andrew, he's not lying or spreading disinformation in my view. He's disagreeing with you on areas of data. That's what it is. He disagrees with you on certain areas of outcome when it comes to researching the different material. And indeed, you worked closely with him for a while. Lying and spreading disinformation. He disagrees with you. He disagrees with you on the identity of Victor. So what? I mean, we're dealing with an elusive character of which it's very little. We know very little about him. He's guarded his anonymity very, very closely. There's different theories about who he might be, and in the absence of more information, these theories tend to mutate a little bit, and we see this all over the conspiracy sphere. Actually, I don't think it's a case closed situation that he claims it is. Jon Stewart says it's definitely Stan Deyo. I don't think it is definitely him. As I said before, the two have a very different accent if you listen to them speaking. Andrew continues. Your friend Colin Wolford refuses to believe that Spiros Malaris created the AA footage and still tells people it's the real deal because he thinks that his research on the AA is the only research that matters. You've nothing against that, have you? No, I don't. Why should I have anything against that? Why should I? You were the one with the weed up your ass here, mate, not me. You're the one who turned on me. I blocked you because your behaviour was becoming intolerable. That's why I blocked you. I was quite happy to enter into a discussion with you, and you responded by accusing me of believing any nonsense that comes my way. You believe Larry Warren, you believe A, B, and C, and you started insulting me personally. That's why I blocked you. Colin doesn't do that. So if Colin started doing that, I'd treat him the same way as I treat you. So yes, I've got nothing against him. Nothing at all. Funny enough, John Stewart doesn't attack me the way you do, even though I don't agree with him. I did a review of his video, of his movie, where I said, I don't think it's certain that this is Standeo. It might be. I think there are specific reasons why we should doubt that it is Standeo. You are convinced it is not Standeo. So yeah, I think it's probably somebody. If we knew who it was, it would probably be a name we would not recognize. I believe it is a name we would not recognize. That's what I suspect. It's probably someone who hasn't had any publicity connection with the UFO community, in my view. All right then, Andrew. So you need to get over yourself, mate. All right, get over yourself and get over me. Get over John. Let's give it a rest. All right. 106 Red Snapper 3828. Imagine a Taliban disclosure. That'll be a wild card. Oh right. Oh, this is. I don't think I know or disclosure any more than the UN may think it has. Do you seriously think that if a UFO crashed in, say, Afghanistan, China, Palestine, Outer Hebrides, it will be the US that tells the world about it? Right. Believe it or not, Red Snapper, there was a UFO. I believe there was a UFO incident, not in Afghanistan. It was actually just over the border from Afghanistan, in what at the time was the Soviet Union during the Cold War. And I can't remember the details, but Ross Coulthart was talking about it. If that's true, then that's something pretty. That's probably something pretty extraordinary, and it does involve Afghanistan, yeah, not under the Taliban, but it does involve that country, yeah. Reply to comments 106. Red Snapper says, if disclosure happened and we triumphed over the New World Order, if the BBC said they were sorry, using those prerequisites, would you accept an offer from the BBC to commission a Roswell Rising Revealed Redeemed miniseries? Leon says, fabulous question, and it was. The answer to that, if that came to pass, then yes, Red Snapper, I would. And Red Snapper says, thanks, Rhiannon. Perhaps Rhiannon Raven said, fabulous question, Snapper. Perhaps in the post-disclosure world, Ben's Roswell trilogy will be like the Tolkien Lord of the Rings trilogy. Well, you never know. I hope so. I think it's a kind of book. I get it. I think it's the kind of story whose time has come. It seems to be in tune with the zeitgeist of the modern era, because I wrote it. I started writing it before December 2017. When December 2017 actually happened, I'd already published the second book in the trilogy, and I was working on the third. And it feels like I struck a hot iron without knowing how hot it was. Yeah, so the answer is yes, I would. If that came to pass, definitely I would. I'm happy to negotiate rights right now. If any aspiring filmmaker or Steven Spielberg or someone like that wants to make a Roswell trilogy adaptation, I'm perfectly happy with that. That's cool. Reply comments 106. Dark Corners Beyond says, another fantastic reply to comments video, my friend. Looking forward to more content in the coming weeks. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you very much, Dark Corners, and you're very welcome. I hope you enjoy what I brought out since then. Yes. 106 Red Snapper. What is your position on black goo? Well, luckily there's none near me right now, Red Snapper. What is it? Do you believe in it? And what did it have to do with the Falklands War? Is black goo related to La Mancha Negra? All right. My position on black goo. What is it? Do I believe in it? Yes, I do. It is a substance that resembles crude oil, but it has unusual properties. For example, it appears to be sentient. It can move by itself, things like that. It has an extraterrestrial origin. What it had to do with the Falklands War was that there was a deposit of black goo at a place called Southern Thule, and the need to seize the Falkland Island dependency by Argentina was as a result of that. I mean, it could. There are probably several reasons for the Falklands War, not least the military junta at the time was using it as a way of controlling its domestic population. So it had a lot to do with domestic Argentine politics. It's funny enough now Millet is in, and it's only now with Millet as president that finally they seem to be getting over this nonsense. What is La Mancha Negra? I know something Negra means black. It's something black. Let's have a look. La Mancha Negra. What's Mancha? I know it's Spanish. Let's have a look. I'm just going to Google La Mancha Negra. The black stain. Oh, yes, I remember now. Yeah, I remember. Is a mysterious substance that has oozed from roads in. It's called the black stain. First appearing in 1986. It's caused multiple car accidents and claimed many lives. I've heard of this, but I don't know much about it. It sounds interesting. It's a greasy black blob that consistency of chewed gum, covers the road as slick as ice. That's why it's caused these. That's why it's caused these accidents. Right? Is it the same as black goo? I don't know. It sounds similar. It sounds similar. I'd have to look. I don't have time to look into it, but I've heard of it. And this is a good thing to talk. Red Snapper. This is a good subject actually for a future video or article or something. So yes, thanks for mentioning that. Thanks for letting me know about that. All right, I don't have the timer with me today, so I'm going by. I'm not going by the time. I'm just basically going by. It's now 5 o'clock. 26 minutes, 27 minutes recorded. So I'm going to sort of guess the time this time. Reply to comments 106. Wasn't that brilliant? Someone paid for you to stay at the Black Swan. Yes, I'm very, very grateful. Oh, hang on, I've got Mancha Negra on my clipboard. One moment. I'm very grateful to the sponsor of that particular expedition. There's been several of these events have been, like one of my trips to Probe, someone paid for that, a viewer or a friend. So I'm very grateful to those people. I probably wouldn't have been afford to, at least I could have gone, but I wouldn't have been afford to stay at the Black Swan without this person sponsoring this expedition. So I'm very, very grateful to that person indeed. Yeah, very much so. Right, York. Oh, I love this video. It's great. So Red Snapper says 804, an ominous sigh. Let's have a listen. I tell you.
Yeah, I know it is.
It's nice to meet you.
Be a dome somewhere around here. I've literally just seen this dome. 2 domes.
Oh right. Aside for the coming reportage, or just a general indication of the state of HPANWO TV. Right. I can't find the exact spot there, Red Snapper, but I think it was because I was thinking very much about the upcoming trip to Hull, because as you know, the expedition to York was on the same kind of sortie as my infamous 2023 expedition to Hull, which produced the video called in which I produced the video called "A Person Goes to OLM." Yes. And that was quite something. That was right. Red Snapper 1219. This is this. Let's have a look. This is on York as well.
There's old Mrs. Breath, and she is dead. I'm glad I'm not the only one who realises that.
All right, yeah. I don't get this was posted in May 2022. She died in September 22. Well, she was alive at this point. What? How much was it? Oh, I think it was 23. No, you're right. It was 2022. Wow. You says I don't get that. It was posted in May 22. She died in September of that year. She was alive at that point. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I was making a joke about how she may have died secretly, and then no one was telling us. There was some theories going around at that point that she'd already died and no one was telling us, because she sort of retired from public life about a year and a half earlier, and there were several people joking that she was dead and they just hadn't told us. I think that was it. I think Red Snapper. I don't think there was anything sort of prophetic there. Right, Red Snapper says here on York. But it was a piece of graffiti on the wall. It was stenciled, a picture of the Queen, and someone had written "She's dead" next to it.
And without their success, without their victory, Illuminati rule would probably have ended sometime in.
Oh, right, yeah, right. This is when I was in the middle of a Boudica moment. Yes, Red Snapper says, if Illuminati rule had ended in the first millennium, we would be living in a utopian society right now. Anti-gravity or free energy would be considered antiquated technology. We would, yes. I think we would. We'd be in the post-Illuminati world, yeah. Now, that doesn't mean it would be when you talk about utopian, it wouldn't be perfect. We'd have our problems, but I think it would be a much happier place than the world we have now. Yes, much, much happier. York again, 26. This is 2636. This is red snapper.
Bow and arrow here. I could legally shoot any Scot who was attacking this wall.
Oh, that was funny, isn't it? Lol, lol. Yes, red snapper. That was Lily explaining. She was explaining the situation in which it is actually, there is an ancient law stating that if you shoot a Scottish person from the walls of York with a bow and arrow on any day except Sundays, you're actually you cannot be prosecuted. Even if you kill them, you can't be prosecuted for murder. And I actually wrote a little sketch here. Let me just find it. Where is it? Where's my York sketch? One moment, sorry, because this inspired me to write a little story, a little sketch. It's not really a story; it's a sketch. Here we go. So if you go here, you'll see. Yeah, we go York sketch, and you can read this, and it's basically a very, very short little piece of writing about that whole thing. It's on Ben's bookcase. But apparently, I don't know if anyone's ever tried it, but I wouldn't. By the way, please don't try it. Please don't take your bow and arrow to York, and when some Scottish guy walks past, try shooting him just to see what happens. Please don't, all right? Because it's kind of a joke. It probably wouldn't happen. You probably wouldn't get away with it. All right, 2824. Look pretty nice, those biscuits and scones. All right, I don't have to click that. I know which bit you mean. It's where we're at. Yes, they are very, very nice, red snapper. They're delicious. Yes, we had a lovely time there. Yeah, that's a lovely time. I read snappers on York. That was brilliant. Why did your companion Lily not show her face? I don't know, because she's a very pretty lady. I wish she had. There are some videos of her and pictures of her online if you want to look them up. She just didn't want to. She just didn't. I did ask her, and she said she didn't. She said no, I don't want to, which is fine. So I kept her out of frame. People, I mean, women in particular are sometimes quite sensitive about that. You know, they have to put all their makeup on and things like that before they appear on camera. Yeah. Right. Town of the Pigs. Yes. Dark Corners Beyond said, "Hey Ben, did you find a studio for Podcast of the Lotus Eaters?" I didn't know. I'm not sure where it is. If I did find it, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure it'd be right to sort of like invade their privacy, so to speak. I haven't actually watched Lotus Eaters for a couple of weeks. I don't know. I don't know why. I've just had other things to do. Excuse me. Right, Oxford Graffiti 10, Ben Z5I, another Ben, that's good, says, please make more. Ben, I will. In fact, I have. I've almost finished gathering enough material actually for Oxford Graffiti 11, you'll be glad to know. So, yeah, I am going to make more. Same video, Ben, same Ben says here, the kids who tag the electric box are toy. I don't know what that means. The kids who tag the electric box are toy. I don't know what you mean by that. But YK Sukio says underneath FRFR. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Okay, maybe is that the name of their group? Is that their group? Okay. And we have the Lights Were Low. Hello, Lights Were Low. 3745 on Ben in the Desert, part 3 of 3.
This, and he's like waving it around. And he's sort of like pointing at the audience. I almost shouted at him, don't point that at me.
All right, yeah. 3745, yeah. This is, yeah, he had some kind of, what was it? It was like who was it? I think it was that weird bloke, the weird bloke I went to see instead of, I forgot. I wanted to go and see another speaker, but I thought I'll go and see this guy instead. When I was halfway through the speech and realised I'd made a mistake. And Lights Below says, is the subtext for your comment on this guy, basically he was a bloody mentalist? Sounds like it, just saying. He was a bloody mentalist. Yeah, I can't remember his name. But I remember because Colin went to see the other bloke and the other person, and I wish I'd gone with him. Problem with Contact, it's such a big conference with all these different events in parallel. You can't see everything. But I'm going back there, which is lovely. I'm going back there, which I saw there'll be a Ben in the Desert too soon, hopefully. But yeah, he was a bloody man. There were some weird people there actually. Like you get them at all these conferences. Some people you just think to yourself, well, all right, I'm not going to stop. I would never say don't let them speak. I believe in free speech, but what kind of nonsense is this person talking? Right, planetary alignment. Orange said there have been quite a few, including February. Yes, the planetary alignment has actually increased. There are 2 more planets in the collection. I think it's Neptune and another one. It's Neptune. I think you can see every planet within like about 20 degrees of the sky. It's quite something. What that means astrologically, again, is quite something. And Helen Tucker says on a planetary alignment, thanks, very interesting. You're welcome, Helen. Glad you liked it. Planetary alignment. Hey, it's Dan Bostock, 61 Shirley. Is Daniel Bostock, the very famous musician, comedian, and contributor to HPANWO TV. He says, I'm 45 and will never stop finding Uranus funny. Yes. Those jokes never seem to go out of fashion, do they? They never do. Same video. Here's proof of point. Fetler John says, is the black hole visible in Uranus, Ben? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. There you go, see? Oh, it's the black hole. The planetary alignment. Rich Horden. Astromologists unite. What's astromologists? Astromologists unite. Is that like oh, right, that's an astronomer and astrologist together, is it? Like the ancient Egyptians used to be. Oh, right, yeah. Planetary alignment. 55 Sothis says, 555 Sothis says, the word syzygy reminds me of the Netflix series, the OA, where she, the beautiful girl with the golden hair, is at a nightclub called Syzygy and telepathically communicates with an ancient cosmic octopus. Worth a watch if you've not seen it. Glad you made this video about planetary alignments. It's very interesting. Thank you very much, 555 Sothis. Right, I can't get Netflix on my computer. It's claiming I'm not at the I don't have an account at this address, which I do, but it keeps prompting me to set up my own account, which is a bit weird because we've already got one. So I'll just have to watch. I can watch it on TV when Ahmad and Hossan are not around, but I can't watch it on my computer. I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can actually remedy that at some point. DJ B2 says on, this is a good one, Catastrophic D on Reddit. First, lol, right. Well, there's no doubt there, DJ. No one's going to Darren is not going to challenge you on your gold tinfoil hat there. But Neil Peel gets the silver. Not quite first. Never mind, mate, never mind. It's something to add to your collection. Planetary alignment. Macca the Gypsy. Oh, I knew you'd say something, Macca. Is Uranus visible, Ben? Arf. Planetary alignment, Macca the Gypsy. What do you think of IVG 5500? Right, IVG, what's 5500? By the way, I'm keeping that Mancha Negra page open because I'd like to learn more about that. I'm just going to look up IVG 5500. IVG 5500, rechargeable disposable vape kits. I'll just show you them here. Right, let's have a look. What's this? Well, I don't vape. So I don't vape, Mr. Macca. I don't do vaping. I'm not a millennial. Right, Catastrophic D on Reddit. First come, first third, says Nicholas Baines. Oh, not bad. Oh, damn, I've got it on I've got IVG 500 on my clipboard. Go back and get the timestamp. All right, Nicholas Baines, well done. Bronze tinfoil hat to you. Catastrophic D on Reddit. Nothing as it seems, says Ben. The term Native American came into broad usage in the 1970s and as an alternative to American Indian or Amerindian, as you've been referring to the people with a heritage similar to mine. Right. Oh, right. I didn't know when this neologism from the political correct office came into use. Right. I didn't know you were an Amerindian. Nothing. I'm not going to use the politically correct term. But, good for you, mate. Good for you. I mean, the term Native American, I know literally it's true. It describes the people as they are, natives of the American continent. But it was brought in basically as this part of generally making white people feel like crap, basically, about themselves. That's its purpose. Let's face it, all these kind of strange new pieces of jargon are about that. It's about warping society, making white people feel like shit, making everyone else hate white people, and basically so that society breaks down and they can and then the bad guys can rebuild it in their own image. That's what it's about. So I'm not going to use politically correct terms, but I didn't know you were an Amerindian, man. Well, good for you, good for you. I've got a lot of respect for you guys. You the guys who first basically brought the Bigfoot out, the Sasquatch, as you call it. You were the first people in the world to basically look into who had contact with the Sasquatch and first brought and told stories about it. So yeah, I'd love to sit down and smoke a pipe with you sometime, mate. Catastrophic D on Reddit. Could AI have written this disclosure? Rick, what can AI not write these days? It's perfectly possible, yeah. It's perfectly possible. Although, seeing as it's like almost 2 years old, possibly not. Because AI really, AI capable of that really is very new. It's literally, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's perfectly possible though. Yeah, we may find out at some point. Maybe, but the fact no one's confessed, we haven't had the "I fooled you, la Yabu sucks to you" kind of moment, which often happens with these hoaxes. Usually, this happens with these hoaxes. And it hasn't happened with this, which is unusual. They would, someone by now would have said, "Well, look, this is how I did it. Here's the program I used. Here's the prompt. Here's all the data. This is how I created it." Things like that. That hasn't happened, which leads me to think it's more credible. Lance Corporal, early Lance, says on Catastrophic D, Reddit is extremely far left. It is. It's kind of a left-wing 4chan, really, isn't it? It's the Crafty Nihilist on Catastrophic D. Intrigued. Well, thank you very much, Crafty. I'm glad you liked it. It is intriguing. Tessa says on Catastrophic D, glad you found the old alien autopsy vid. Well, I couldn't show it because the moment you do it, a certain person will strike you down with a copyright fight because he believes he owns the copyright on it, which he doesn't, I don't think. But there you go. 106, Steve mumbling. He's finally arrived. What does he have to say? When Hogwash changed his channel name back to Professor Simon Filmmaker, he says, "I'm a professor. I've always been a professor." They are his words. That is a quote. He doesn't make science films. He makes science fiction rubbish. He's a fraud. Well, Steve, why did he change? I mean, look, if he could become a woo-woo, maybe you can as well. You never know. You know that, don't you? He used to be a skeptic like you. He's not anymore. Why is that? The Mumbler says on 106, the Apollo defectives are a bunch of know-nothing halfwits that aren't even smart enough to know. They're a bunch of know-nothing halfwits. They wouldn't dare take me on again. They know they were slaughtered last time. All right, well, look. I could say, well, people who say 2 + 2 = 4, right? If you're a mathematician who thinks 2 + 2 = 4, you're a know-nothing half-wit, and you're not smart enough to know you're a bunch of know-nothing half-wits. If that was the case, would 2 + 2 therefore equal 5, Steve? If not, why not? Would we not dare take you on again? I think we would. I think we'd take you on again. I don't think you were slaughtered last time, and I think you wouldn't be, and I think we wouldn't be again. I think you would be, like you were last time. Red Snapper on Catastrophic. Ninth. Oh, nice one, Red Snapper. Don't eat Pringles. You're still not eating this, says Red Snapper. I know you answered this before, but I can't remember. Do you know what? I've had a couple of tubes since then. Silly me. Catastrophic D, 4837. Are you a fan of Credo Mutwa? Yes. I've found a new video of his. They have like a strange covering over their skin. Yeah. I enjoyed David Icke's interview with Credo Mutwa. It was very interesting indeed. Yes. Red Snapper says on Catastrophic D, wouldn't it be useful to urinate through our skin? Be great for beer drinkers. Not if you're sitting next to one in the pub, Red Snapper. Melvin Sherman says here, all right. And he's got the Wikipedia page for the Commonwealth of Independent States. The Commonwealth of Independent States was a very short-term name for the former Soviet Union before it became Russian Federation and bits of it split off. But Melvin Sherman says on Catastrophic D, oh, I forgot a few things, Ben. The Asian part that used to I think you meant used to be part of the Soviet Union is now part of. I did not know at the time, and to be more clear, this was something Boris Yeltsin came up with. It's basically he wanted to rebuild the Soviet Union. To be more clear, when I mean it, I meant just get the land back. It's like Boris just made a deal with Bill Clinton and say, hey, I want Alaska back because A, it belongs to the Russians. Well, again, you're a little bit incoherent here, but I think what you're saying is that Boris Yeltsin wanted to rebuild the territory of what was the Soviet Union into a singular state again, a singular post-Soviet state. And indeed, I think there's an element to Putin who wanted to do the same. Now, this doesn't mean he's going to do it, because to do that, he'd have to invade all these territories like Belarus and the Baltic republics and things like that. And Kazakhstan, of course, that's not on. They now have their independence. But he does want an alliance with those nations. He wants friendly governments in those nations. He supported the Yanukovych government in Ukraine for that reason, because Yanukovych was friendly to Russia. And then NATO and the EU come along and they engineer the coup, which deposes Yanukovych and puts in the dynasty, whose latest incarnation is the little boy was crying in the Oval Office the other day. So, right. Macca the Gypsy says on Catastrophic D, it's a childish interest you have. Oh, really, Macca? It's a childish interest. What's that? Playing basketball? Because I used to play basketball when I was a child, or when I was a teenager. Is it childish to be interested in basketball? What are you talking about? Is it child? What is it? Are you saying that the subject of this video is childish? That's interesting, because I think you're childish. I think it's childish to go around leaving stupid comments on videos and saying insulting things about people's books. That's your childish interest, Macca the Gypsy. And we have David Smith. He's back. He's back. Catastrophic D on Reddit. Right. All the guff in that Reddit post sounds almost word for word from a video game called XCOM UFO Enemy Unknown 1995. If you haven't played it, I recommend you do. And that and X-Files got me into ufology early on. It's turn-based strategy, but you also have to manage your base elite alien fighting soldiers. During battlefield skirmishes, you can try to capture aliens alive and then bring them to one of your bases for interrogation. Dead alien bodies can also be autopsied to learn their strengths and weaknesses. And that alien research is what the Reddit post sounds like. All right, let's have a look. UFO Enemy Unknown. Let's look that up. UFO, that sounds interesting. UFO Enemy Unknown. Oh, yeah, video game. Right. Let's have a look here. So it's got a Wikipedia page. It's a 1994 science fiction video strategy game developed by Mythos Games. Right, and plot. It's set in the near future at the time of the game's release. This begins in the year 1998, and the initial plot centers on increased reports of UFO sightings and tales of abductions and rumors of attacks by mysterious aliens becoming widespread. That sounds good. That does sound up my street, mate. It really, really does. Right. Right, well, I've not played that. I'm not a big gamer, but it does sound interesting. Now, whether that actually is the what you call guff in the Reddit post, I don't know. I mean, you see, I cannot simply wave a magic wand and know exactly what the truth is behind that Reddit post. All I can do is say, well, it sounds like this and it sounds like that, and other people look at other commentary on it, which describes it as sounding authentic or not so. But without more information, we don't know. But I don't believe it's necessarily guff. It might turn out to be, but I don't know that. Macca the Gypsy says on D, still living in a bedsit paid by MI5. I love Sandra. Are you? I don't know about your bedsit, and I don't know who's paying for it, and I don't know who Sandra is. But if you love her, that's good. Patrick Patel says here, I love it. Weird, Patrick Patel. I haven't seen you for a while, mate. Welcome back. I love it when you drink your coffee, especially that slurping sound you make. I know you thoroughly enjoy it. You're the only person I know who drinks like that on YouTube. I'm drinking my coffee now and dunking biscuits. Oh, well, thank you, Patrick. I'm glad someone likes it. Reply to comments 106. Watermelons are support for Palestine. Flag colours, says Crafty9. Oh, thank you very much. I was just, I didn't know what that meant, and Crafty actually explained, and so I said, thanks for the info. That explains it. All right. Reddit Scientist live stream. Right, this is the follow-up video to the original Reddit Scientist. How am I doing for time? Oh, at 10 minutes to go. Donna Wellham. Hi, Ben. I hope all is well with you. Not bad, thanks, Donna. I hope you're doing all right, too. And Red Snapper says on Alien on the Reddit Scientist, I know what this is a timestamp, but I know what he's talking about. Wow, Hugo Rune would love the cannabis research bit. He would, wouldn't he? Yeah. I hope he saw this. Julian Conway says on Reddit Scientist live stream, have a look at Scanner Guy 1968. Scanner Guy. What's that? I'll just try wikiing it. Scanner Guy. Look for pages containing Scanner Guy. Nothing. Scanner Guy. Scanner Guy 1968. Here we go. Right, yes. Oh, it's a YouTube channel. Scanner Guy 1968. Oh, it's UFOs. Oh, I think I know this guy. I think Todd Brown sounds familiar. Oh, I think I've heard of him. I've heard that name before, and these videos look a bit familiar. It's a series of skywatching videos. Right. Thank you very much, Julian Conway. Steve Mumbling says here, deleted already? You really can't handle the truth, can you? If Trump held a press conference and said all these visiting, crashing ET stories are science fiction bullshit, and there never has been any ET visitors to this planet, would you believe him? Right, well, that's kind of happened, doesn't it, Steve? If you look at the Caroline Leavitt's first press conference, one of the first things she mentioned was the drones. Now, that's not, I mean, as you know, I've covered that on a previous video, and I'm confused by that, but do I believe him? No. And thing about it is, Steve, deleted already. She's deleted already. You really can't handle the truth. What's been deleted? And I actually ask him in text. I say, Steve, what's been deleted? And he doesn't answer me. So presumably some comment of his has vanished, and he's blaming me for it again. Like he always blames me. Right, the eve of Trump's live stream. We've got David Smith, who says here, have you done any videos calling out Project 2025, an actual backed up by facts conspiracy, or what about doing away with cash? Is that not a problem anymore when people like Trump promote digital coins? Were the people involved in January the 6th Antifa crazy? Why were they pardoned by Trump? Why is it okay for a billionaire to buy his way into the heart of US politics? For a billionaire lefty making a donation will be part of the New World Order. I hope you start to see the reality of the situation. All right, I don't know what Project 2025 is. Actual facts backed up by conspiracy. Let's have a look. I think I might have heard of it. Let's have a look. It's a political initiative to reshape the federal government in the United States, consolidate in executive power in favor of right-wing policies. Right, I don't know much about this, I'm afraid. Run by Kevin Roberts. Seems to be a Trump thing. What about doing away with cash? I'm against cash, the cashless society. You know that. Is that not a problem anymore when people like Trump promote digital coins? Well, Trump is promoting various cryptocurrencies. Yeah, I mean that's not the same as the cashless society exactly. It's something different. I haven't heard him talk about doing away with cash. I haven't heard him say that. Were the people involved in the January 6th Antifa? Well, there were some agents provocateurs among the crowd who appear to be acting in certain ways that is suspicious. I don't know who they were precisely. And it's not crazy. You say it's crazy. It's not crazy. Why were they pardoned by Trump? Well, those people were not. The people I would consider suspicious, the anonymous people with their faces covered, who came in, caused trouble, and then disappeared. They're not the people who are being pardoned by Trump. The people being pardoned by Trump are people like Jacob Chansley, who, let's face it, did nothing wrong. He wandered around. He wandered around the Capitol building, wearing his furry hat and horns for a while, and then walked out again. That's all he did. Those are the people he pardoned, not these anonymous sort of like covered ghouls who just go around. They wave some sort of like, shall we say, dodgy flags, and they walk out. Why is it okay for a billionaire to buy his way into the heart of US politics? Well, he didn't. I don't think he did. I think the fact that he's a billionaire is kind of irrelevant, except that it helped him. If you mean he bought his way in, he funded his own election campaign, yes. But he didn't buy his way in. Technically, he was voted in by the American people. A billionaire lefty making a donation. All right, now then. You're comparing Trump to, say, George Soros or something. All right. The difference is that Trump funded a political campaign and was voted in by the American people. Someone like Soros or one of these other people, Klaus Schwab, they would make a donation, for example, to a, shall we say, pharmaceutical outlet. That's different. That's not funding some kind of campaign of which people get to choose. So it's a completely different thing. So that's why it's okay for Trump to do that and for someone else not to. I hope you start to see the reality of the situation, says David Smith in his usual passive-aggressive, sarcastic way. Well, I think I'm here to discuss the reality of the situation with you, David, and that's what I'm doing. David Smith has another comment under here. Just to add, what about how a one world government was terrible? What about how a one world government was terrible? I think what you mean is, why would a one world government be terrible? What would people like you have said if, say, Biden had talked about taking over Canada, Greenland, and changing the name of a body of water? Right. I think I would have said exactly the same. Well, if Biden had said it, I'd think he was just driveling over something that was at the back of his head that had popped out to the front. But if you're talking, is there anything immoral specifically about any of those things? No. Well, there is. I mean, Canada is a sovereign state, and taking over that would be immoral unless that state decides to disband, and it doesn't. And I don't believe Trump was serious about that any more than he was serious about moving all the Palestinians out of Gaza. He says these things without. And I think this is one of the things he gets wrong. It's one of his flaws. He sometimes says sort of outrageous things to stir people up for various reasons as a political strategy. Greenland, now there's nothing wrong with taking over Greenland, because Greenland is already taken over. It's a foreign territory of Denmark. It's a foreign overseas territory. It could be taken over. In fact, as I've explained, in 1855, the United States bought Alaska from Russia. So there's no reason in 2025 that the United States could technically buy Greenland off Denmark. There will probably have to be some kind of referendum of the people in I think the Constitution of Greenland, it has an autonomous government. There has to be some kind of constitution or election. But technically speaking, it is perfectly feasible and it's not immoral. Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico, right? Well, firstly, you can call a geographical phenomenon. You can call anything you like. There's a large area of sea that separates Britain from the European continent to the south. It's called the English Channel. We call it the English Channel. The French don't call it that. They call it La Manche. It doesn't contain the word English or Anglais. It doesn't say Anglais, which was their word for English. They just call it La Manche, not La Manche Anglais. They just call it La Manche. And the Bristol Channel, which is the sea to the north, which separates the West Country from South Wales, is known as the Bristol Channel. But we in Wales, we call it the Severn Sea, because we don't see why we should name a stretch of water after an inland English city. So yeah, I mean, and so different geographical entities often do have different names. They're given different names for political reasons. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing Trump has done compels all the map makers in the world to change the name of the Gulf, to print on the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. right? No, they don't have. Map makers are going to continue to use the conventional name. The only thing that will change is that some map makers, some of the publishers of maps in the US and maybe a couple of other countries will choose to use the new name. You know, there's no law which compels anyone to use a particular name for a particular body of water. You could call it the Gulf of Wankers if you want. You could publish a map like that. It may sell well. In fact, I think that actually happened. I think Spitting Image published a book. There's a Spitting Image like picture book. It was quite funny actually with new names for everything. Yeah. Oh, it's the Tory map of the world. Yeah. Oh, I've got my own version of that. Look at this. I'll just show you something. Let me just show you something. It's the end of the hour now. But let me just show you. Well, where is it? Hang on a minute. Oh, bloody heck. Map. I don't even know I can find it now. Oh, here we go. Look. I'll give you. This is the perfect example, David. I'll give you the perfect example here. The Illuminati map of the world. I've created a theoretical map of the world according to the Illuminati. There you go. You see all this? Now, I'm not going to read everything here, but our map, our world, our great work, and you can pause and read that, or you can screenshot it if you like. I think I've got like a big version of it. Is this a big version here? That's the tiny pic. Oh, it's gone now. But there you go. There's the map there. You can see. Okay. So that's a perfect example of what I'm saying. The list for these things is pretty extensive now. If you think you can defend them, I'd love to hear you call into the line. Several of the hosts are very patient and great listeners. Oh, don't tell me it's Matt Dillahunty, isn't it? It's Matt Dillahunty. Is that the specific host you're talking about? Why are you so fixated on Matt Dillahunty? Why is it? Well, I can talk to you for hours about things. I can give you lists of other skeptics I've had debates with. I can even go to a skeptic conference. You go, no, you have to speak to Matt Dillahunty. I won't be satisfied until you speak to Matt Dillahunty. What's so special about Matt Dillahunty? He's an atheist. He's a skeptic. I watch him. Sometimes I think he's a bit of a dickhead. He's sometimes quite insightful. I don't think he's stupid. Well, I mean, sure. Well, all right. Look, I will. If I called into the line, right? Let me just ask you this, David. If I called into the line and I said exactly what I've just said to you, what do you think Matt would say in reply to me? Just say what do you think Matt would say in reply to me? Because I would just make the points I've just made to you. What do you think he would say? I mean, I wouldn't mind trying that, actually. And maybe that's an idea. Anyway, that's the end of an hour, guys. And we're back for part 2. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now going to carry on from where I left off. And we now have the lights were low on new probe. 1 minute, and we've got a timestamp, 1:22:12. Let's see. Let's have a look what happens here.
Will be able to detect ETs beaming in to our houses or whatever else, they'll be able to use those 5G technologies to actually spot if an alien's coming in.
So one of the purposes of this system.
But that was Julie. Julie, what's her name? Okay, well, I can't think of names. I should know. Hang on a sec. Julie Phelps. It annoys me when I can't think of names. That was Julie Phelps, yeah, talking. She says, not sure Julie got this one right. What do you think, Ben? That 5G could be used as possibly essentially a Space Force weapon? Yeah, it could be. I mean, it is so it's so powerful. It transmits so much information. It is very, very adaptive into all kinds of situations. This doesn't mean it could detect objects coming from deep space, but it could, for example, detect landings, and it could detect infiltrations by extraterrestrial beings into our world. That is perfectly possible. Yeah, so I think she may well have got that one right. And now we have Orange on Valentine's Day 2025 live stream. Enjoy your and he says here, enjoy your Valentine black goo chocolates, Ben. Oh my goodness me, I didn't get any, believe it or not. And Orange also says on the same video, have a look around the belt area of the Egyptian guy. Looks like he's having a boner. I'm not sure I want to look at that, actually. Oh dear, I don't know exactly what part of that you're thinking about. What actual part you're thinking about in the video. There's no timestamp here, and I'm not sure I want to be reminded if that's what it is. If that's exactly what happened. Macula Gypsy says on Valentine's Day, Ben, you last saw Sue Staines in 1982 and you haven't been a porter since 1990. Don't you agree you are obsessive? Macca, if those dates were correct, possibly, but no, I haven't seen Sue since 2016 and I haven't been a porter since 2012. So those dates aren't quite accurate, are they? The Berkshire Roswell. Oh, I love this one. This is so fun to make. And David Divide says here, beer keg, a chemicals container or gas cylinder with bits and bobs added on. A teenage prank or something like that. Is that what it was, Divide? Right. That's interesting to know. I mean, although if it was a teenage prank, the teenagers have never been caught and they've never come forward and admitted it. And there's been no further information on this entire thing. But you know, I actually thought it looked like some kind of keg barrel container or pressure bottle or something like that. I thought it looked like that, quite frankly. It's a shame it wasn't still there when I arrived, but it took me a while to get there. Catastrophic D on Reddit and Laurent Daubigny, I think it's French, says here, Laurent Dorignon says, it took me a month to find a work around with your UFO disclosure 2023 because of YT blocks. I know, mate. Yeah, it's pretty bad, isn't it? It's. I'm sorry about that. I mean, the thing to do is always subscribe, keep checking the channel, and even when you subscribe, I know sometimes you don't get notifications and all that sort of thing. YouTube have well and truly shadow banned me, but I appreciate the efforts you put into it, Laurent. I really do. He continues, I see the bad Uranus jokes have migrated here. I saw your name pop up in my feed today, but that lady voice, ew. Terry Johnson, I think it was. Pick better interviews, lad. Oh, I think you mean Terry Johnson. You mean Terry Joyce? Oh, she's got oh, what's wrong with her? She's got a lovely voice. Leave her alone. No, I'm glad I was on her show. All right, you're talking about you must have seen her video that was on her channel with me. Yeah. Oh, I liked her. By the way, there is another interview with her. It's on her. She's done a second interview with me. That's on her Rumble channel. I've also got an audio version on her HPANWO radio. But thanks for the comment anyway. Orange says, I think something's popping out from the Egyptian guy's belt area. Right? The Egyptian guy. I don't even know what this bloke looks like. What do you mean? I never showed a picture of him or anything. He's talking about this person who lured my partner away, which was very, very upsetting. Yeah. There's no picture of him anywhere that I know of. Well, she saw a picture of him, but you know, pictures can be manipulated. Pets. I reply to Stefan Molyneux. Red Snapper says first. There's no doubt this time, Red Snapper. The gold tinfoil hat is yours. And indeed, David Splendid Isolation says here, gold Chuffy badge on its way. Red Snapper says, congrats on a second. Yeah, David got the second. Well done, David. Pets, DJ B2. I am whatever, lol. Runner up, mate. Mentioned in dispatches. DJ says on the same video, I stopped liking and listening to Stefan a long time ago, way before the plague of 2019, whenever the Ukraine thing started. Did you stop liking and listening to him? Well, I've sort of gone off. I've kind of gone off him a bit. Yeah, I didn't like. I think he's gone a bit stupid, and he has this paywall in which he insults people, but everyone behind it gets insults because they're the only people who can comment on him on his stuff now, because he's been banned from mainstream social media. You can comment on his BitChute channel, but if you want to do live comments and things like that, he replies to you. You got to pay him something, and when you do, he starts having a go at you for spelling mistakes. I mean, I bring this subject up in the video, so there you go. Late 2019 was when the China hints happened. And Ayn Rand is not a good person to base your worldviews on. Right, yeah. China spelt with a Y. I know what you're saying, the China hints. It's to do with a certain disease, shall we say? It was sort of popping out and about as long ago as then, but it was a few months later in the spring of 2020 that it kind of started spreading around the world, and the government thought, this is our chance. Ayn Rand is not a good person to base your worldview on. I think she was, I certainly wouldn't base a worldview around her like some people have. I mean, she's been accused of being a cult leader. And indeed, people have, people, they watched her community she built around her, she called it the collective, which was kind of a bit of a joke, sort of did worship her as a kind of goddess. And she doesn't sound like a very pleasant person. I wouldn't. I don't think I'll get on with her. I've read 2 biographies of her, actually. One by Barbara Brandon, and one by her husband Nathaniel, who had an affair with her, with Rand. And in both of those, she comes across as a pretty difficult, belligerent person and moody. For example, Barbara was just admiring the view outside her house. She had this lovely house that had been built on a sort of Howard Rourke type style. And she was admiring the view, and Rand got angry with her and said, you don't care about the men who build skyscrapers and all this sort of bollocks. And Barbara was sort of looking at her bemused, thinking, what have I said wrong? Yeah, I wouldn't get on with her if I ever met the old. I'd just call her an old bag and walk off. I wouldn't get on with her if I met her. But even Stefan, I mean, Stefan has never been a kind of like cult follower of hers, a Rand droid, as they're called. He's never been one of those people, because he always said that she got some things wrong. So I don't think it's fair to say that Stefan is basing his worldview on her. I think she very much inspired him. But certainly in recent years, he's moved more and more away from her, I'd say. DJ says here on pets, I gave up on women a long time ago. You learn their true nature working with them in either the corporate or civil service environment. Oh, dear. DJ, are you a MGTOW? It's usually MGTOW. When MGTOWs say female nature or women's nature, they tend to be MGTOWs when they talk about female nature and women's nature. MGTOWs, I've done an entire video called Am I a MGTOW? MGTOW stands for men going their own way. Spoiler alert, the answer is no. But I think I sympathize with them. I think I understand why they become MGTOWs, but I think it's a very, very negative, very, very dark. It's a very dark, cynical, kind of misanthropic vision of womanhood. I compare them I actually just compare them to feminists. I would say they are essentially male feminists. By male feminists, I mean not the kind of simping Kevin Logan kind who like go along with what feminists say. They are, I think maybe a better term is possibly inverted feminists. They have attitudes towards men who have attitudes towards men, and to women that feminists have towards their women and men, I think. Yeah. DJ says here on pets, it is worse now. I'm fine. Meditation does work. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're happy with the meditation and stuff, and DJ, and I hope you feel better soon, whatever's the problem. DJ says on pets, stop funding him, Ben, for fuck's sake. I don't fund him. I've given him a couple of donations over the years, but I don't anymore. I wouldn't actually now. I wouldn't. I don't listen to him as much as I used to. I'm still going to listen to his free stuff with a clear conscience, but I'm not going to give him any more money. No, not when he's attacking people who fund his lifestyle and keeping him in the manner in which he's accustomed. Just for spelling mistakes. I'm not going to do that. No. DJ B2 says on pets, lol, just one word. All right, thanks very much. DJ says on pets, Molly is too much up his own arsehole. He lives off his own farts. He bloody does, doesn't he? He really does. He's he's more so. He seems to have changed. Actually, he's getting worse in his old age. He's becoming more arrogant. He's becoming less tolerant. He's becoming more aggressive with his commenters. Why these people like are part of his community, I'll never know. Why they go in there and pay money just to be slagged off for making spelling mistakes. Yeah. Rhiannon Raven says on pets. There's a long comment here. Oh, bloody hell. I've just gone. Damn it. I just clicked on a button to give a comment. And what happens was it goes onto the held comments tab. I don't know why. And then I have to go back and scroll back down again. I don't know why it does that. Rhiannon says here, as much as I hate to say it, I'm inclined to agree with Stefan on this one. I don't know in the sense that none of us truly know. I don't know in the sense that none of us truly know, but I suspect that animals don't love us in the way some of us are capable of loving them. Brackets. Then again, maybe I've just lived with an emotionally and domestically abusive cat for too long. Close brackets. Slinky. Oh, poor Slinky. I think maybe we confuse dependence and comfort for love in the sense that humans mean the word. I suspect if animals are capable of feeling love for humans, then possibly horses might be the species most capable of approaching a deep connection, which is the closest thing to what humans understand as love. Horses are extremely empathic and intelligent animals. I disagree with Stefano when he says that humans who have a strong attachment to animals are always substituting for human relationships. I think Stefan tends to project his own particular perceptions and views onto everybody else, which is the quality I find most annoying about him. Yeah, so do I. So do I. Thanks. That's a great comment. Thanks very much. Yes, I find that very annoying about him. Again, there's no way to be certain unless, like, as a philosopher once said, there's no way to know what it's like to be a bat unless you are a bat. We can judge certain. We can make certain judgments about what animals think and feel by their behavior. So dogs, you know that dogs primarily, their primary interest in life is, where's my next meal coming from? When's someone going to take me out for a walk? Are the people I care about safe? I mean, they do sort of care about people. I mean, so for example, a dog will defend their owner against an aggressive person or another aggressive dog. They will defend their owner. Why the way they do that, the reasons. Stefan would say it's just some kind of programming, as if they're a kind of computer. I would say that they're behaving it's not unlike the behavior of another human who cares for you. Actually, we can say that much. We know that they're not capable of more abstract thoughts and feelings. They don't kind of like cogitate over moral dilemmas the way humans do, for example. It's difficult to know, but horses, I think, do seem to be a particularly humane species, I'd say. Horses and dogs, very humane, yeah. And also there's some of the cetaceans like whales and dolphins and things, I would say, are as well. Pets, Red Farmer. Did the farmer give you your money back when you took the puppy back? How did your daughter react? Okay. No, I actually specifically stated to the farmer, we don't want any kind of refund. We just want to give you, we just want you to give this dog a home. And they said, fine, we'll take him back, and maybe they managed to sell him on to someone else. I don't know. We only had him for like about a month. How did your daughter react? Well, she wasn't that bad actually, because I did explain this decision came after a bit of an argument after she refused to take him out for a walk when she was supposed to. And I said, look, if you've got to take him out for a walk. She said, I'm not taking him out for a bloody walk now. She said, oh, look, if you're not going to do this, we'll have to take him back because you're not looking after him properly. And she's, oh, do it. I'll go on then, she said. So that's how it sort of came about. Later on, she tried to blame me. I mean, she was only like 6 or 7 years old. I mean, it's not, if you've got kids, you probably had these kind of conversations with them. But I mean, I knew at that point that, I would never have to face this situation again, because if she came to me and said, I want a dog again, I'd have said, well, remember this, remember Rex. I always have that. I can always use that against her. So once it was done, it was done. The dog was all right in the end. The dog went back to the farm and was, last thing I heard, they were taking good care of him. So all's well that ends well. There was no way I was going to like abandon him somewhere on a dark street. There was no way I would have done that. No way. We made sure he had a proper home. Pets, Maka the Gypsy. Oh, here we go, Maka. The only reason I don't block this troll is because he's quite funny and amusing. Ben, you are mad. Dogs are more intelligent than humans. They can skateboard better. Well, that's true, Maka, although proficient skateboarding is not necessarily a sign of increasing brain power. It's proficient skateboarding. All you need to do is be able to judge a gravitational field and have a good sense of balance, really. It's Pets, and we have Mac City. Hello, Mac City. Not heard from you for a while. How are you doing? I've never really listened to Stefan very much, but from that first clip, he seems to spend too much time on attacking his followers for a minor mistake in a question than actually answering the question. That elitist browbeating is slightly disturbing to listen to and comes across like he doesn't actually want to interact with his audience, save for the donations they give him. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mac City. And you know what? he's doing it more and more. It's getting worse. There's been several incidents like this, and he's doing it more now than he used to. And this is the sort of thing Ayn Rand used to do, apparently. I mean, if you read the Brandon's books, that they both independently wrote biographies of Ayn Rand and their own experience of being in her community. You'll know that she used to do things like this. She used to berate and criticize and go and be really, really scathing to members of her community. And they used to take it because they kissed her ass so much and they thought she was so wonderful. Well, I'm not going to do that to Stefan. No way. David Smith says on pets, badly behaved children should just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and behave better. Sorry, couldn't resist. Really. Pull themselves up by their bootstraps. That's, I think, is a scientific phrase that means free energy. The Lights Were Low says on, this is an old one. This is But You Do Nothing Posers, part 6 of 8. Oh, right. Let's have a look. This is a timestamp on this one.
Go to protest. Don't piss around at puffy conferences. Don't go do your blogs. Stop. Leave the forums alone. Stop watching Alex Jones and do something.
Oh, this is so very true all these years later. Keyboard. I think maybe that's true up to a point in the lights, but I was kind of parodying or doing a parody or a satire of the people who. I mean, it's not really a problem anymore. It used to be in those days. Of the people who were like real world activists who used to continuously berate everyone else and criticize everyone else because they thought they're not doing enough. Whatever it is not enough. And very often I find there were certain people who would regard others in such a disparaging way that nothing they ever do would be enough. I think they were kind of proto backslappers. They were it was sort of similar to the backslapper mentality. In fact, Andrew Johnson used to be a bit like this. And now he's a fully fledged backslapper. Oh, UK Pro, part 6, 10 of 11, part 6, 8, part 6 of 18. Ray Archer. Oh, we use a character was Ray Archer. Yeah, right. Oh, I miss him. I miss all the pro buddies, but Ray, he was quite a character. Was old Ray. Yeah, he was funny.
You sort of fill it in.
All right. Yeah.
Like so.
Oh, that is not just strange. It's bizarre. What are your thoughts on this, Ben? A whole 13 years later. Oh, well, I think Ray was he was seeing connections between the shapes of words and pictures. He was essentially, and he saw meaning in the shapes of words. And I thought I look back on it now, and I've kind of thought the same. This is a sweet, genuine kind of individual who is a true believer in what he does, and it's completely harmless, but I was kind of toying with the idea that he might be right, but he's not really. But he's just so cool. He's just such a character. I just kind of warming to him. Lights also says here on the same video, I love the fact he shows us the word tap and illustrates itself as a tap when written vertically, but he goes on to use the American word for tap, faucet. He does, because the tap written in a certain way actually looks like a tap. That being a device for regulating a flow of liquid from a pipe or container. Yes, but the Americans call that a faucet, of course. Yeah. Same video, 626. What's this? Okay. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
The letter X sort of can stem from that, because if you have a V like that, and an A and that like
20,
that.
This is 20 minutes long. My goodness. Oh dear. Oh, value deluxe. Am I thinking more like, I bet he can spell cocaine a lot? Oh dear. I'm sure he never touches a single granule, Lights. I don't think Ray is that kind of person. Definitely not. Same video, Lights Were Low. This is a 20-minute video. Lights is putting a lot of comments on. Let's have a look at this. If the page will open. No, he was called as old Ray. I don't know what's happened to him. I mean, this was a long time ago. When was this? So the page is taking ages to open. It was 13 years ago. All right, our page. Oh, wait, here we go.
It's entirely different. Yeah. And why should you have something which actually builds the shape of an helicopter?
Well, you know, there's several different ideas because Len Horowitz, a guy who took, I don't know if you've heard of him.
I like the chap.
Yeah,
Oh God, this is going back a long way. This is comedy gold, says Lights. Whenever you've had a tough day, Ben, watch this. Yeah, I mean, I do look sometimes review my old videos, Lights, and I look back on them and I think about them I look at them in a really nostalgic way, especially these old probe videos. I really, really do. It's kind of a halcyon era for me. That was. It really, really was. Lights Below says, I say this needs explaining. I can hear your internal dialogue saying, no, it doesn't, get me out of here. Do you know what, Lights? I actually did mean it when I said it needs explaining. I was so open in those days to everything. I was so open and kind of so accepting and willing to engage in almost entertain almost any idea that when I said this needs explaining, I think I probably meant it. Now, if I said that today, I probably wouldn't. If I met Ray today, I probably wouldn't have actually filmed him. I'd have been polite to him and I'd have listened to him, but I would have said, okay, I've had enough of this. Yeah. But, you know, it would just seem so churlish. I mean, that, you know, a lot of people just, oh, go away, Ray, this is really annoying. But wouldn't that be churlish to do that? It really would. 1824. All right, Lights Below says on the same video here. He's left loads of comments on this as Lights.
Give a talk, which I hope to do probably in a year or two. That's going to be the title, probably.
Oh, right. Please, Ray, Light says, please, Ben, do a HPANWO interview with him. You know, where is Ray these days? I don't know. He was quite old. I mean, is he still alive? I don't know. Ray, if you're watching, get in touch, please, mate. Please get in touch. Right. I'm glad, Lights, I'm glad you enjoyed that video so much. You've left 7 comments on that one video, and I appreciate that, mate. I do. Tor Engen says on Syntheo 2023. Oh, wow. I remember one story about one admin in a company that though that network technical group did nothing, so they ordered them to do the postal duty too to save costs. Then it was a network breakdown. The admin was in panic and ordered the network technical group to fix it. Got feedback that they were busy to do the postal duty and order by the admin. Admin had to wait for their postal task and to be able to solve the network problem. Right, I think I mean, your grammar and spelling's not the best. I'm not going to do a Stefan Molyneux on you here, Tor. I think what you're referring to this obsession they had with portering downtime, where the porters would basically be in the lodge on their settee waiting for the next job, and say, well, while they're doing that, they can sort the post and things like this. So we're not going to pay them to sit idle and stuff like this, without understanding that this was an inevitable part of the job. So yeah. But that was, yes, it was, that was the old, that just goes to show, this is what happens, Tor, when institutions, it is usually large corporations or state actors will just put people in charge and put people in crucial administrative positions when they haven't got a damn clue what they're doing. The NHS does this all the time. It's really awful because when these people join the company, they're useless at their jobs. They get kicked upstairs. I'll promote them just to get them out of the way. When they're out of the way, they make things like hell because they're so stupid and so ignorant and so lacking in experience. They make mistake after mistake after mistake, and there's no one you can really turn to wheel them in because senior management, their own bosses above them, are just as bad. Right, pets, Red Snapper. This is 2005. Here we go. Of my channels on any of my platforms, and people leave comments all the time. Now, some of these people do make mistakes. Some of them obviously don't read through what they're about to post, and they make a few errors and things like that. All right, this is referring to people who, as we found on this video, people who are not always the most articulate in written communication. 2005. Sorry if that was a reference to me with the semi-literacy. All right, Red, it wasn't you specifically. I was thinking, well, it's not a secret because I tell him so. I was thinking primarily of Jack Parker. But there's several others. There's people who posted on today in this particular video who I would say are semi-literate, and that's, and I want to be kind to those people. I want to be tolerant, and I want to try and understand them. But I'm not going to spend 8 minutes just slagging them off like Molly does. He says here, I have an IQ in the 90s, and I'm autistic. I do actually proofread many posts, but still seem to miss stuff. My mind seems to work that way. I have to look at a sentence several times to spot mistakes. Look, don't worry about it, Red, honestly. I mean, you know, my book, I've been reading through, if I could read through, every time I read through Roswell Rising or one of my other books, I said, damn, there's a typo. I never spotted that. Despite the editing I did on it, I didn't spot it. And I get annoyed about it. But, you know, perfect can be the enemy of good. And I don't want you to make too much. Don't go to excessive effort to make everything letter perfect, right? If you make a mistake, don't worry. So long as you are comprehensive, that's the main thing. So long as I can understand what you're talking about. That's all you got to do. Just Right. So long as I can understand what you're saying, that's the main thing. I should make an effort to do that. There's nothing wrong with having an IQ in the 90s. You know, I mean, there's people with lower IQs than that who are very pleasant. There's like Forrest Gump. There's amiable simpletons like Forrest Gump. You know, at the same time, one of the worst people I've ever known in my life he was a very intelligent man. He was an evil genius. I'm talking about Centaur. He was very high IQ. As I said, he was a university graduate. Trained as a teacher, very middle class, a evil, violent, despicable man who hypnotized, he basically mentally and physically abused children, and then hypnotized their parents so they couldn't do anything about it. I've said enough about that in the past. Red Snapper says here, I'd love to hear more about the sad story of the young man who died, the one you bought a day out to the racetracks. Yeah. I can't remember his name. I can see him now. He was a chap. He was I remember it because when I went over into theatres in the late 90s, he was a guy. He's about my own age. He was an ODP. Never been a porter, so therefore he was a lot more likable than most ODPs. Because most ODPs, as I said, that ODPs have a big anti-portering problem, as I've said many times, and. He was good at his job, well respected professionally. Loved keeping exotic pets. He had spiders, he had fish, he had as I said, he had lizards, he had reptiles. This all came up because Molly was saying how he thought people who had lizards as pets or reptiles as pets were psychos. This guy was no psychopath. And he fell very ill. He was off sick from work a lot. He had developed, I don't know what was wrong with him exactly, but he developed a very bad long-term health problem. And he was in hospital quite a lot. And then he came back to work for a while, looking very pale. And it's pretty clear he didn't have the energy he used to, but he was on sort of light duties. And then he told us, he was quite open about the fact his prognosis was terminal. And so we decided we did a kind of gave him a treat. We raised some money, and he had a day out at a racetrack driving a racing car, and that was kind of a goodbye gift, I suppose, because a few months after that he did pass away, and he must have been in his early 30s. Very, very sad. Yeah. Jones Plantation, watch Read Party introduction. DJ says, sorry for not responding. I must have not seen that video. That's all right, DJ. I mean, it's always there for you if you want to see it. How am I doing for time? Recording 32 minutes in, right? We're nearly at the end now. We're nearly at the end of this. Well, we're at the end of the YouTube. We're at the end of the YouTube version of this reply to comments video. Of course, there is the Alt Tech Annex, which I'll be doing straight after. A DJ. Or was I drinking, lol? Maybe a bit of both, DJ. Maybe a bit of both. Same video. I only heard of the film due to the Dollar Vigilante recommending it. Oh, I see. You were the one, weren't you? Right, it was you, because you said, sorry for not responding. Was it you who told me about this? Yes, yeah, so I think it may... Who was it who actually told me about it? Dollar Vigilante recommended it. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, I already kind of know what this video... I know from just watching the trailer and reading what David Icke says, and I kind of know what the theme of this film is going to be, but I'm still curious to see it. Same video. Melvin Sherman says, off topic. The only thing I say about Trump's peace plan is simple. It's basically how World War II. It's basic. See, this is another person who is, I think, semi-literate. It basic how World War II ending. Okay, I think you mean how World War II ended. Okay, I don't think there will be a wall in Kiev. You don't think there will be a wall in Kiev? Like the Berlin Wall, do you mean? Okay. But if Putin got more land, it would be. Right. Putin is not after land, Melvin. This is a big myth. What he wants is he wants to protect his country from basically the NATO incursion into Ukraine, the NATO occupation, the illegal NATO occupation of Ukraine, which was instituted by force and attempted murder. And he wants to protect. He's been protecting the ethnic Russians in the Donbass. That's what he's been doing, and he's been securing the biological warfare laboratories. Those are his mission objectives, which he has achieved. It's never been his objective. It's never been his aim to send troops marching into Kiev. That's never been his aim. But in a way, it would be Trump doing the Berlin Wall 2.0. Oh, Melvin, I don't think so. I don't think it would. Right, and someone called Labased says underneath here, in this day and age of the 21st century, the world is pulling walls down. Only dictators try to put them up. I've heard this is a bit of a buzzword, isn't it? Oh, we should be breaking walls down, not building them up. Now, if this is some kind of reference to the border wall in Mexico, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all that border wall is doing is enforcing the law which exists already about entry into the United States. That's all it's doing. That's all it's doing. I mean, the walls like this have been built before. Hadrian's Wall was built to protect Roman Britain from the Caledonians and the Picts, who lived to the north in what is now Scotland and Northumberland. They were constantly raiding Roman territory in the south. Same, the Great Wall of China was designed to protect the Chinese Empire from the Mongols. I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with building a wall like this. The Berlin Wall, incidentally, was unique in the sense that it was designed to keep its own people in, not keep an enemy out. He carries on. The Ukraine invasion is not even the same league as World War II. At current rates, Putin will have been dead a few centuries before his army reaches Kiev. Lab-based, Putin is not trying out to invade Kiev. That's not his objective. He carries on. Trump has no say in land or borders in other sovereign states, much less about how they segregate them if it comes to that. Unlike World War II, US didn't have boots on the ground and hold any territory to dictate terms of either side. Any ceasefire may happen before the end of the year. Any eventual permanent peace plan will be agreed between Russia and Ukraine. And I doubt if Putin or Trump will be around when that happens, given the current situation, brackets. The only part the US will play is getting Putin to the table so Trump can have his photo op and secure the resources in Ukraine they want by pledging to secure said resources from, say, Russia. All right. It is different from World War II, yes. And of course, you can't really have a war like World War II anymore because of the nuclear threat. I mean, this became very obvious at the end because World War II did, of course, go nuclear at the very end. Yeah. A ceasefire a permanent peace plan will not be within the lifetime of Putin or Trump. I'm not sure, I'm not sure because it could happen a lot quicker than you think. I mean, I don't see the conflict between Russia and Ukraine doesn't go back a long way through history. As Putin has explained in his own article on this subject, it is a very recent manifestation post Ukraine's independence following the attempted assassination of Yanukovych. So there's no reason why it can't be undone, and the political landscape can shift just as quickly. I think the US will not play a major part in, as you said, it probably will be in terms of photo ops and things like that, and maybe some financial aid. So I think you're right about that. I don't believe you see Trump. I don't think is an interventionist president. I think the fact that he's picked Tulsi Gabbard as his director of national security is very telling that he wants America to become more inward focusing and stop being the world policeman. I think this does seem to be his strategy for the next 4 years. So yeah. So we'll see what happens anyway. But interesting comment, Lab-based. Thank you very much. Dr. Hildegard Langstrom says on catastrophic D on the widget. Yes, who is quite mad. Have you ever had a crisis of faith in ufology? Do you ever have days when you think, "Dear Lord, have mercy on my soul. I have frittered away my years on folk tales and daydreams. I've been seduced by science fiction. My house is made of sand and my deepest hopes are but dust on a fairy's fallen winglet." That's got to be better than the positive virus, you know. So that's enough Red Dwarf references. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. I know what you're saying. The poetic way you're speaking, you are so, man. Is there equivalent of MBA for people who don't believe in UFOs and how they look at people who do? Is there equivalent for MBA in that? I don't know. Maybe there's no such thing as Aliens Bravery Award. I don't know. There's no TNSTASBA. That doesn't really scan very well, does it? I'll think of something to call them. But it sounds like you're one of these MBA equivalents for people who don't believe in UFOs. Now, there are many people who actually are like that, believe it. Do you know there are people who actually are like that? They actually express those very sentiments, not quite so eloquently and poetically, but they do. So, for example, Stephen Cambion, for example, he's a very good example of what you might call a UFO widow or widower. Is that a good term? A UFO widower, yeah. And there's several others as well. Mark Pilkington has an element of this because he used to be more of a believer. Basically, the skeptic who used to believe. I mean, there's loads like that. And very often they are, in terms of Cambion specifically, they're quite traumatized by this experience of being a believer and then becoming a skeptic, and as you said, fretting away their years on folk tales and daydream. And the shame and the guilt and the disappointment and the heartbreak. You know, some people really do feel that. Now, have I ever had a crisis of faith in ufology? Well, first, I don't think my belief in ufology is a faith. I think it's based on an analysis of evidence. The answer is no, I haven't. There are times when I have thought something might be real, it turns out it's not, a particular case. But when I look at it, when I look holistically at all the different areas of ET research, the presence of in non-human intelligence engaging the human race, I've never seen anything at all that even comes close to suggesting that this all might not be real. Never. I mean, you've got to admit it, Hildegard. You must admit that I have looked at both sides of this story. No one can accuse me of living in an opinion bubble, in some kind of echo chamber where I only interact with people who believe the same as I do, and I feel hostility for those who don't. You can never ever accuse me of that. I have been to skeptic conferences. I've read skeptic UFO books, like Pilkington's Mirage Men. I've read those. I've watched the documentary with what's his name, Brian Dunning. You know, the UFO documentary. I reviewed the UFO documentary with Brian Dunning. So I have looked at both of this, and I think no, I have not had any what you call a crisis of faith. I don't think so. I have. Could that happen in the future? Could hypothetically evidence come to light that would prove to me that UFOs are not real? Hypothetically, yes, but evidence could come to light that could prove that I'm actually the son of the Loch Ness monster. If evidence is provided, I'd have to believe it, and if that's the case, then I would believe it. But that has never happened, and it's very unlikely. David Smith said, "This comment hits harder than Hex Vision." Dr. Hildegard Langstrom, gentlemen. Oh yeah, was it Schopenhauer was right, wouldn't you say? A life without pain has no meaning. Gentlemen, I wish to give your lives meaning. And David says to Hildegard, Doctor, this account is MAGA positive. They already have meaning in seeing others suffer. Oh, David, this account is not MAGA. It's MAGA positive. Yes, it's weird. If I've never heard the phrase MAGA positive before, but I know what it means. And meaning in seeing others suffer. I don't get meaning out of seeing others suffer. I'm hyper empathic. I scored like a really high level on the empathy scale. So no, I don't. Anyway, it's like ask Mr. Flibble. Maybe he'll do something about it. That'll teach you to be bread baskets. The Jones plantation. Watch Reed Party introduction. You still wear that smelly hat. Laughter, laughter, laughter. There's no smelly vision. You don't know this smells. Goodness me, look. I can smell it. Look. That's fine. It's fine. I only ever wear it when I'm on the air. I only ever wear it when I'm doing YouTube in my studio. I only wear it because if I didn't wear a hat of some kind, there'd be this big bright spot on my bald head. I don't want that. And I wash it. I do wash it, not every day because I don't wear it that often, but I do wash it. So anyway, you wouldn't know if it did smell because you can't smell me. Pets. Branda Silva says, if every animal would be in a good place, I would not have an animal. I prefer to be free from the duty of care, but I give shelter to animals in need, and they give so much love. This love is worth the effort and the money. They are highly individual and they have a soul. I hear Stefan Molyneux. I've heard Stefan Molyneux since 2012, and he gets more and more weird. Molyneux sounds like his heart is slowly dying together with his emotions, and the only thing that will be left is a brain not working properly. Right, I agree with you about the I think you're right about animals. They do have a soul, and I'm really admire you for putting effort into caring for them. I really, really do. As for Molly, he is getting more weird. Yes, I think you're a bit too hard on him, saying his heart is dying. And I think he's, but he is. Several times I've made several videos about him lately, which indicates he has changed in the last few years in a way that I think is. I think he's becoming cantankerous, quite frankly. He's turning into a miserable old git too soon, and he's only like I think he turns 60 in a couple of months, and that's really bothering him. Why that should bother him, I don't know. I mean, there's only people who moan about getting old. I think to myself, well, look, there's only one alternative to that. Would you prefer it? The lights below says the beard. This is a reply to comments 5. Oh my goodness, the beard works, Ben. Oh, the beard, yes, the beard. I did grow a beard for a while. This is way back in 2016. I know what it was. I know what it was about too. It was to protest against that horrible sexist Gillette advert. I don't know if you've seen it. It was a long time ago, but I grew a beard. I grew a protest beard to protest against it. Do you think it works? It was horribly uncomfortable. I'm glad to shave it off. I really was. Pets. Mac of the Gypsy. Your hat is smelly. Oh, shut up. It's not smelly. You wouldn't know anyway. Right, Catastrophic D on Reddit. Grim Military Videos says here. Only an idiot would go to Reddit for genuine information on aliens and UFOs. An even bigger idiot would pretend to be a scientist. All right, let me address your first point. Only an idiot would go to Reddit for genuine information on aliens and UFOs. All right. But you see, Reddit is so varied that that's a bit like saying, to paraphrase Richard D. Hall, that's like saying, well, only an idiot would go into a library to try and find a book on something. You see, that's the equivalent. You could find anything on Reddit. Grim Military Videos, including really good information. And what's good, the good stuff doesn't always get upvoted. It's the entertaining things that do, which entertain the Redditors. And a lot of Redditors are idiots, and they upvote really stupid things. He carries on. An even bigger idiot would pretend to be a scientist on Reddit. No one trusts Reddit, as it is the home of hoax and creepypasta. All right. Well, we don't know this, but whoever wrote this was not pretending to be a scientist. I mean, a lot of people have commented and said this person is a real scientist. At least they know something about it. They have scientific training. But again, no one trusts Reddit. It's the home of hoaxes and creepypasta. Well, it certainly is the home of a lot of hoaxes, yeah. And a lot of it is a lot of nonsense. As I said, it's a left-wing 4chan. So, yeah. But it could be this was an AI hoax. We don't know. Again, no one has confessed, though, after more than a year or 2 years or so. No one's confessed. He carries on. ChatGPT can make anyone sound legit, so that doesn't count for shit in the real world. Unfortunately, that's true, GMV. Yeah. But again, this is a problem. What if it was someone real? What if it was someone real and they're dismissed as an AI bot? Do you see? We have a bit of a little boy who cried wolf problem here, don't we? And so it means we can either reject everything or we can just investigate things harder. That's our choice right now. And it's the easy thing to do. Well, because there's so much fake stuff out there, we can just reject everything. It doesn't count for shit, as you say. Or we can like make more efforts to investigate and be more patient. And I'm choosing to do the latter. I mean, I understand why people want to do the former. It'll save them a lot of time and a lot of heartache. But yeah. The overt attempt to use technical jargon is a dead giveaway. It never surprises me how much BS or disinformation is blindly accepted by self-proclaimed intelligent alien UFO researchers. Ooh, who do you mean exactly by that? All right. Now, you see, the thing is, GMV, you can't really win here, can we? We can't win because if there'd been no technical jargon, what would you have said then? You'd have said, oh, well, this person doesn't know what they're talking about because they're not using proper scientific language. That's what you would have said, and a lot of other people would have said that too. But because they're using a lot of technical scientific language, oh, now they're using an overt attempt to use it. So what is the happy median between the two over which you yourself, by your standards, would accept something as worth investigating? And your last sentence is just rhetoric. I mean, I could paraphrase that to you and say, it never surprises me how much BS and disinformation to do with 2 + 2 = 4 is blindly accepted by self-proclaimed intelligent mathematicians. Now, if I said that sentence, would 2 + 2 = 5? If not, why not? Take your time. Oh, GMV's here again. Okay, on the same video, Catastrophic D on Reddit. Grey aliens are not found throughout history. Really? Let's just find you something. Let me just find you something. Let's have a look at this. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. Let me just show you something here, guys. Let's have a look at this. What's this then? What are these? What's the I think that's fake. That's fake. That's fake. But this is probably fake too. But this is genuine. That's genuine. Let's look at them more closely. What does that look like to you? These are genuine. These are the rock art of Sago Canyon. This is, I think, in Nevada, USA, and it is genuine. And it's thousands of years old. Look at this. These are one genus from Australia. Again, millennia old. Aboriginal rock painting. There you go. What are they? What's this? Again, that one's fake. There's loads like this. I mean, I think this one is probably fake. But there were similar things to that. I don't know if I can find. Anyway, I just had to answer that before reading the rest. The grey aliens are not found throughout history. Cave paintings look nothing like greys, and no god entities from the past were grey-skinned. Well, again, it's hard to judge colour in those things, but they certainly have the features. The head shape, the eye shape, things like that. He carries on. The greys are a modern creation. And no, that's not true. I explain why that's not true. I mean, even the Brian, I mentioned Brian, not Brian Dunning, the other guy, who's do Skeptoid. Oh, no, that was Brian Dunning. Even he got that wrong, and Robbie Graham found out. Even he contacted the production designer of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, who said, I spoke to people who have contact experiences. That's where I got the idea for those aliens. He carries on. But no amount of facts will change the mind of a moron who's already decided what truth is in their own mind. Oh, who do you mean, GMV? Ben already believes they're ancient. They're spelled T-H-E-I-R. So I'm not going to do a molly on you, but can't provide a source or prove it unless he purposefully misunderstands or misinterprets the past. I've just shown you pictures, Grim. There's loads more. Read Supernatural by Graham Hancock. I've just shown it to you. The first reference to Greys is Betty Hill. None before that other than retrograded stories. No. And in fact, even Betty and Barney Hill do not describe greys in the classic sense. They describe creatures with several grey-like features. But they, for example, they wear a kind of uniform. They describe creatures who wear a kind of uniform and have like slightly elongated eyes, I think they said, not almond-shaped eyes. So I can't remember the exact details, but the description from Betty and Barney Hill who were not the world's first alien abductees. They were the first to be publicized. Their story popularized this idea. But no, you're completely wrong. You're totally wrong about everything you say here. And in fact, a lot of it is actually explained in this video and in the live stream, which I hope you've seen. I hope you've seen the live stream, GMV, because I actually have been through this. All right. GMV says, I've heard enough people say this is genuine. Wow, is that your evidence? Me told it true, so it's true because they told me. Oh, now that is an oversimplification of my position. A gross oversimplification. I've never just fallen back on, well, I heard it and that's it. But I think I make a valid point when I say that the fact that a lot of people have analyzed this and have said, with scientific training, have said this person is talking like someone who has scientific training. Yes, I know AI can do that, but without a doubt, this is not just someone making up. This is not someone bluffing. Whoever it is or whatever did this is not bluffing. That is evidence of sorts. And I think you were oversimplifying and misrepresenting me with that comment. Right, Pope Health live stream. How much longer have I got? All right, I think I might get to the end of this before the 2 hours are up. I might have to go into a third hour, but Rick Horden says here on Pope Health live stream, 23:46 and 33:15. Hey Ben, you remember me saying? Let's just play these quickly. It's funny, my viewing figures have stayed static. Oh, right, yeah, I know what this is about. Yeah, he says, you remember when you were saying that 27 viewers were incorrect? As soon as it loaded, there were 120 views. I hope this stat report helps. Thanks very much, Rick. Right, yeah. Now, there's a difference in terms of live streams. There's a difference between current viewers of the live stream and accumulated unique views. So what they were basically saying that there were 27 people at that particular moment watching. Now, it's possible that some of those dropped out and others joined, which meant that the accumulated unique views were higher, so it got possibly to 120. Right, so it is possible to have a video where you have 27 viewers who are watching all the time and then it's 120 at the end. That's true. However, it's what makes me suspicious is the fact that my viewing figures dropped very suddenly by 2/3 in March of 2018. And the same goes for, and since then, apart from some exceptions, they haven't really risen above that. This is why I think I had more unique viewers during the live stream, and indeed I had more current viewers during the live stream. That was the number of people who are actually watching at any given time on the live stream, plus the number of unique views of both the live stream which were built up during the live stream's play, and indeed the recording afterwards. So thanks for this information, Rich. I appreciate you. I know you want to give me encouragement here, and I appreciate that. It's actually not impossible technically for what you're saying to be these to be accurate. However, because they do fit together, these two figures. However, I do believe that I probably had more than that. I think not only have I been shadow banned, I think that the number of views I get is more. I mean, believe it or not, Google have done this to me everywhere, and I've written blog posts where I get more comments than views. Now that's not possible. It's not possible for me to get more comments than views. Yet that's what I see. I think they are basically playing silly buggers with me, and they're trying to make me think I don't have an audience and hoping that I'll give up. That's what all this is about, and it's not going to work. I'm not giving up. Thanks, Rick. Nothing as it seems says on Pope Health's live stream. Why didn't you brilliant Englanders warn me of Lois Perry? It took an American to introduce me to this gem. All right. Well, I'm Welsh, not English, but I mean, you Brits. Who is Lois Perry? Never heard of her. Was she in the film? British politician. Who is she? British politician activist for UKIP. All right. Born 1981. Anti-net zero group. All right. She sounds quite based. All right. I warned you of her. I'm glad you think she's a gem. Yeah, she seems to be quite based. Yeah, cheers, mate. Cheers. I haven't actually. I think you Americans. I know a lot of you comment on various on various things that we do over here on this side of the Atlantic, definitely. I think I'm nearly at the end of this segment, but we've got now the lights were low, who says here, "Hi Ben, I always get confused with the Sistine Chapel analysis. There was factual written evidence of a pope commissioning the artist for the specific artwork. It is a written record rather than hearsay. Because of this, it is difficult to use it as a coincidence analogy. The lottery example is also a challenge, as I would suggest that a 5 times win is a coincidence, but that does not preclude it from happening or me accepting it. The lottery win did happen, so it would be accepted. A better example would be of something that people in general feel couldn't happen at all. However, if a bar is to be set, then it should be for both sides. As you say, where is the line where you will believe? And believers should also have a bar, otherwise everything is believable. I hope you get my point. Each side must have an okay, that would be believable, or you are right, that's too unbelievable. There must be balance to avoid bias." Thanks very much. That's on reply to comments 5 again by the lights below. Yeah, I mean, the Sistine Chapel thing, I did actually mention I know, of course, it is a painting and there's a record of it being commissioned, and we know Michelangelo did it because there's loads of history about it. But imagine you just found it in some temple that no one knew about. That's kind of what I meant. I should have specified that. I have specified that sometimes when I use that analogy. And the lottery example, yeah, you see, it could be a coincidence you can win 5 times in a row. It's physically possible. If you buy a ticket, you're in it to win it. But as you say here, there has to be a cutoff point. We need some kind of congress where we agree. We sit down and we agree and we say, okay, this is the statistical ceiling. And both of us on both sides of this debate will accept that and will respect it. That's what I'm saying. And I think you understand this here from your comment. I say, I think you understand the point I'm making here. That's what that's all I would request. That's what I would request is done. So, yeah. But thanks for that comment, and I'm glad you're enjoying these old videos. I really, really am. Okay, that's the end of hour number 2. All right, guys, hour number 3. Now, it's not going to be an hour because there's only a handful of comments left. But we have now the alien interview. Here we go. There we go. We have Andrew again. Andrew Burlington, the alien interview guy. It's sad, you know, because I actually met this guy once. I got on with him. We spoke and we shared information, and he was okay for a while. Then he objected to some of the things that I was saying, partly because I was talking to people that he didn't like, and then he started attacking me, really saying things on Facebook like, well, as these were in private messages, but he basically started becoming very critical of me, saying that I was, you believe any nonsense you hear, you believe Larry Warren, etc. And so I had to block him. And he says here, Ben, are you aware that Stewart changed Victor's identity again last Friday to Stanton John Willett, a man who doesn't exist? Right, no, I'm not. I hadn't heard that, Andrew. Well, if Stanton John Willett he doesn't exist. Well, I'm curious to see what John says about that. If you're not familiar with the story, check out last week's Night Shift podcast. He claims to have paid Jeff Broadstreet £4,000 for Victor's full name and showed an email that supposedly came from him. The Night Shift podcast, this is interesting. What's the Night Shift podcast? I've not heard this before. Let me just check this out. Well, I appreciate this information, Andrew. I mean, I don't actually. Night. Oh, sorry, my browser's good slow. I appreciate this, Andrew. I do. I appreciate you bringing this information to me. I'll check that out. He claims while I'm waiting for the browser to open, I'll say, I don't believe it really came from Broadstreet because he has lied about him in the past, e.g. the time he told podcasters that Broadstreet had confirmed Stan Deyo to be Victor. I contacted Broadstreet about it 4 days ago and didn't hear back from him. Do you still believe Stewart is an honest researcher? I'm surprised you haven't said anything about the Stanton John Willett story because it was big news last weekend. Well, the reason there's no need to be surprised, Andrew. I haven't said anything about it because I haven't heard about it. I'll put Night Shift podcast, John Stewart. Let's have a look. Oh, it's just that bloody John Stewart person. No, it's that other John Stewart. The weekly show with John Stewart. Oh, dear. Oh, I've blocked you, so I can't send a. You can't send me a link. I'll check. I'll check him out. I'll check him out. I'm not unblocking you just for this. I'll check him out on Twitter. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's see what he says on Twitter. Let's have a look. John Stewart. Oh, hang on a sec. Alien interview. Where is he? No, it's Victor Nevada. All right. I'm still following you on bloody Twitter. Look. All right. Oh, I haven't blocked you on here. Okay. All right. Let me just say. All right. I'll just say here. Where are you? I'll just click DM. Where are you? I'm just gonna DM you, Andrew. Just here we go. Could you? Let's have a look. Here we go. Could you send me a link? I'll just say, could you send me a link to the night shift podcast with John? Thanks. All right, Andrew. So you can just just send it me on Twitter, because I haven't blocked you on Twitter for some reason. I must be just feeling charitable. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I can't answer that until I know more about it, and it's just kind of gone past my radar. I was just thinking about other things. I mean, there's so much going on. I can't cover it all. Okay, so we have here Andrew's just basically making the same comment again here. Let me just do this quickly. So I'm preparing for the gas spanner show while I'm recording this. Andrew repeats the same comment on a different video. That is the Jones. The last one was on 106. This is on the Jones plantation. All right. Red Snapper says here on the Pope Health live stream, do you believe giants existed, Ben? Are you aware of Abraham Lincoln quote at Niagara Falls? Right. No, I'm not aware of Abraham Lincoln's quote at Niagara Falls, but giants existed. They may still exist. I don't know if you remember, if you've seen Marius Boyarian's Marius Boyarian is a researcher from, I think he's from Australia, but he wrote about giants in the Solomon Islands, and they definitely existed in the past, because skeletons have been dug up which are like 10 feet tall in Iraq. There were 11 of these skeletons. They were dug up by someone called Muhammad Ali, as in the boxer, and they had clothing, eating utensils, and tools with them. Yeah. Right, and we have the Crafty Nuts. This is Conclave Film Review. Crafty says, catching up. Need a Ben video to cheer me up. Oh, well, I'm glad to help, Crafty. I really am. I'll hopefully see you soon. And Crafty says here on Conclave, who's that prick on the canal bank? Good job I wasn't there. The prick on the canal bank was an entitled, stuck-up, self-pitying, moral blackmailing poser who is typical, unfortunately, he's very typical of the boat people in Oxford. They're just so bloody up their own asses, and they think they're so much better than everyone else because it's the usual, like, what's the sanctity of victimhood, the narcissism of victimhood. Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm now going to go to. But thank you. That's the end of the list. Thanks, Crafty. I'm now going to go to the notifications on YouTube, my YouTube feeds, just to see what comments have been posted while I've been making this particular video, during the last couple of hours while I've been making this particular video. Let's have a look, guys. I've got two, right. We've got quite a few here. I've got quite a few. I'm going back quite a while. Oh, this Crafty Nice catching up, need a video, a Ben video to cheer me up. All right. Right, Gavin Mousey. Oh, no, that's not the one. Neil Peel says here, Mac of the Gypsy, you obviously read them to be able to say that. Hope you coloured the pictures in. Oh, Neil. You are so good with the comebacks. You really are. I remind you, do you remember I had those review trolls on Amazon who were saying all kinds of horrible things about my books? It was the same 3 or 4 people doing it, but they created a dozen different accounts on Amazon, and they were giving 1-star reviews, and they were saying horrible things about the books. It was obvious they'd never read any of the Roswell books at all. They were just trying to sabotage my livelihood. Mac and the Gypsy says on here we go, on 106 here, I know that your boring videos get 175 views after 10 months, and no sane person will watch this egotistical twaddle. Are you going to have Mark Devlin and Charlie Freak on next? Oh, I'm tempted to block you and ban you, Macca, but I'll let Neil deal with you in his own way, because Neil's quite capable of taking you dickheads on. He really is. And as for, has it occurred to you, people who get like 175 views, maybe they're shadow banned. Maybe that's why it happens. That's it. Maybe that's why it happens. Okay, so one more refresh, and then that's it. Let's see any more new comments, and then I think we'll call the YouTube videos a day. Yes. Yep, that's it. Okay, guys. So, well, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has posted comments over the last period since the last reply to comments video. Needless to say, this video wouldn't happen without them. They've all been cool. Some of them have been critical. Some of them have been appreciative. Some of them have asked me questions. Even some of the rude ones have been quite amusing and given me a chance to create some entertainment for you guys. Please keep putting comments on there. I really do appreciate that, and I really intend to do more of these reply to comments videos soon. I try to do them more often now, so they're not too long, and I think people get a reply to their comment quite quickly, as quickly as possible. So thank you very much for all of those. Now, do remember, this is only one part of this reply to comments video number 107. There is the BitChute, Odyssey and Rumble Annex. That is basically the ones that cover only alt tech comments. This is the alt tech annex, so I can address comments openly and freely without worrying about getting into trouble with YouTube. So I will be doing that. This is something I do regularly now on every one of these. So if you haven't subbed to me on BitChute, Odyssey and Rumble, please do go and do so, and you can watch that particular video over there as well. So that's the next. That'll be up again. It'll probably be up a few hours after this one, but it will be up. So thank you very much, all of you, for watching HPANWO TV yet again. There's another video coming soon. In fact, I'm going to the Birmingham UFO group. I will record that. I'm doing another interview with Steve Bassett in a couple of days. That will be up on the channel. So thank you, all of you, for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.